Okay, guys, welcome to another live stream. I had to rush back into my house. I was almost late for the stream, but the stream has to go on. I'd already cancelled it twice, so I didn't want to have to postpone the stream again. Um, so that's why I was rushing back. But today we are going to be having a very good discussion. Of course, we're going to be talking about many different things. We're going to be talking about Jacquemus's New York store. We're going to be talking about what's been going on at Vivienne Westwood. We're also going to be talking about the Lyst Index. So, first of all, I will ask you, can you please like the live stream? It will help me out a lot. And also turn on your notifications, because a lot of people say they aren't notified when I stream and they actually have no idea what time I stream. So if you turn on your post notifications, hopefully, because I know that sometimes you don't get sent notifications, even though you turn it on. It's weird, but at least there's a higher chance that you might get notified when I go live. And like I've said many times, it's not been working, but I'm trying to stream as close to daily as I can. Have I been streaming daily? No, but that's the goal. So if you turn on your notifications every day, you'll know when the live streams are happening. Yeah, just like, so you're saying you turn on notifications but never get notified. It's really weird. It's really strange. I don't know why it's like that. I got a Twitch notification, if that counts. I guess that counts. I guess that counts. I got a notification of the stream and my email by Twitch. Maybe if you guys follow me on Twitch, then you can come over to YouTube because you kind of know what's happening. But this is why people say that Twitch is a better streaming platform than YouTube, because they actually notify people when you're live. It's really strange. Culture says, let's see the hair. You guys saw my hair last time. Rachel says, I get notifications, but sometimes they are buried by the algo recommending random shit. Oh, damn. That's crazy. This is funny. I just like he just met with the marketing department of a Fortune 500 company. The thing is, first of all, I went grocery shopping. So I just came back from buying groceries. But I had to obviously walk to where it was. And that's why I was almost late for this stream, because there was a long queue to pay for my groceries. It was really strange. But I don't think you're going to go to any Fortune 500 company meeting with a Walter Van Beirendonck hat. Very, very strange. Very, very strange. Very odd. Anyway, guys, let's not waste time. Let's jump straight into the conversation today. So we're starting, of course, talking about Jacquemus, which to me, I think is a very, very interesting conversation to have, because Jacquemus just opened their first USA store. It's in New York, in SoHo. Now, this is very interesting because it feels like it wasn't that long ago that we were talking about Jacquemus being so smart financially, Jacquemus being really good at marketing, and also just the business of Jacquemus being something that a lot of designers and brands should look to, because it's still an independent brand. And there are so few independent brands that have been able to make the amount of money that Jacquemus has made. They have made an absolute killing. And an article I really wanted to go through in this stream is this article here in Vogue Business, because here they kind of talk about some of the figures that Jacquemus has been able to achieve. And I honestly think it's very, very impressive. Once again, thinking of the fact that, Jacquemus is an independent brand. Here it says Jacquemus revenue surpassed 200 million euros in 2022, up from approximately 100 million euros in 2021, the brand said last year. It generated around 280 million euros in 2023, according to estimates by Jan Kretz, a principal at consulting firm Laurent Berger. So it's insane. Like an independent brand making 280 million euros in 2023 is absolute insanity. And so when I saw that he was opening a store in the US and opening a store in New York. I thought it's only right. They're in that position financially. It's a brand that is expanding very quickly, even though it's independent. And I guess it works. However, there is a big conversation being had, and this started from Miss Tweed saying that actually Jacquemus is struggling to finance the store. And it seems like it's a situation where, you know how these stores happen, you sign the leases a lot earlier before you plan to launch. And it could be that they signed the lease a bit prematurely, and now they're kind of forced into having to have the store. So let's read what is available on Miss Tweed, and then we can read some other articles about this whole situation happening. But it says, Jacquemus hires Rothschild & Co. to find a minority investor. Jacquemus has retained Rothschild & Co. to help it find a minority investor willing to finance its ambitious store opening plans and expensive celebrity-peppered shows and events. Several senior industry sources with first-hand knowledge of the matter said, until last year, Jacquemus was regarded as one of France's most prominent success stories. It's been hit by the luxury spending downturn, particularly online, where it makes a significant portion of its sales. Turnover this year is expected to be down 15 to 20%, industry insiders say. So that's very interesting because, of course, Jacquemus is very, very, very successful financially. That I don't think that's in question. However, when brands make money, it's revenue. We have no idea what the profit margins actually look like at Jacquemus because they spend a lot of marketing. The shows are extremely extravagant. I can't even imagine how expensive some of the Jacquemus runway shows are. And just the celebrities that they work with, the influencers that they use. So we don't know what the overheads are. We don't know what the figures look like. We don't know what the profit margins are. But clearly, they need some sort of money. They're kind of strapped for cash if they're looking for minority investors to start to help them fund this store opening in New York. And so I just found it really interesting because a lot of people online, and the discourse online has been, Jacquemus is struggling. Jacquemus is going to have loads of issues. Now, I don't think it's that bad, but I do think normally when a brand is independent and they've been able to be so successful, this is the point in which you're going to start thinking about getting investors because now things are going on the downward spiral and you might not be able to have the cash to weather the storm when you have, like they said in the Miss Tweed post, they're looking at a 15 to 20% downturn for this year compared to last year. And considering how brands normally work, is they expand as the revenue goes up. So as the revenue goes up, they hire more staff so that then they can be in more markets and they can produce more stuff so they can sell more. So when you lose 20, 15% in 1 year, it hits you very heavily financially because now you have way more overheads than you did before, way more staff, but not as much revenue. So you can't pay for things. And that's why I think that this might be a sign that Jacquemus might be seeking investors very, very soon. I can very, very much see, let's say 2-3 years from now, we're going to be like, oh, L'Oreal has invested or the Wertheimers have invested into Jacquemus or LVMH or Kering or whoever, OTB. I can see very, very soon an investment taking place because this is normally what I see when these kind of things happen. But let's go and read a really good article. It's in Fashion United, which is a platform I love reading because I think in Fashion United, they have almost every single fashion news story first. It's really strange. I don't know how they pump out like 20 plus articles a day, but they somehow manage to do that. But essentially, this article reads, as growth momentum fades, is Jacquemus seeking investment? And of course, they're really just talking about the fact that Miss Tweed has reported that they're looking for minority investors and the fact that they've faced leadership changes. Here they've mentioned that they had a departure of their chief executive, Bastien Daguzan, in the late 2023. So of course there are issues there. And normally when you see a restructuring on the senior level, you know that there are issues happening. Leo says, I agree, he has probably reached his ceiling, may even have exceeded it with full independence. And that's the thing, because it's amazing to be independent. And I think it comes down to what your goals are. And I always say this when it comes to brands. Are you content being a multiple $100 million brand, which Jacquemus definitely is, because I mean, 280 million euros is a lot of money. But, you know, do you want to grow even further than that? Are you pushing for the billions? If you are pushing for the billions, you cannot be independent. You have to, at some point, have the infrastructure of a massive conglomerate like an LVMH, like a Kering, because you just don't have the infrastructure, and you just can't take advantage of the profit margins the same way that massive conglomerates do. Because massive conglomerates, and I talk about this all the time, they damn near have a monopoly on the whole industry. They just control everything. They want to make a fragrance. Everyone is going to give them favorable raw material prices, because LVMH, you know, buy so, like, in terms of volume, they buy so much raw materials that as a company, you know, well, if I give Jacquemus a very good price, then I might be able to sell to all the other LVMH brands. So it's a long-term play, so they're going to give you a good price. Same thing with Kering. And that's down to everything. Factory prices, fabric costs, the economies of scale are insane. And so if you want to keep growing to that level, you have to seek investment at some point. You can't just be independent. And I wonder what that means in terms of the way Jacquemus operates, because normally a lot of brands, these big wigs and these corporate heads, they come in and they just mess up the brands and they turn it to commercial. And these brands start to become a far cry from what we associate from the brands, and kind of the identity of the brands are just completely lost. And that sometimes is a very, very big issue. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see how this plays out. But I thought it was really crazy, because to me, it makes all the sense in the world for Jacquemus to have a New York store. But it's just crazy that there are all these financial issues tied into it. Let's see what guys are saying in the chat. Yeah, Culture says, facts, what are the goals? That's the thing. But I think everyone's goal is to just keep growing, keep growing. By the time your brand is worth 280 million euros, you're probably the kind of person that just wants to keep growing, right? Surely that's your motivation for the most part. Yeah, Rachel says the economies of scale. Yeah, like conglomerates, they control everything. It's so insane. It's so insane. Which is why I always find it weird when, you know, an up-and-coming brand charges the same as, let's say, Gucci. And people are like, why do you think you can charge that? Like, Gucci's a luxury brand, you're a new brand. And I'm like, you're probably getting a better product from the smaller brand because of economies of scale. The main reason why it's that expensive is because they've spent so much money buying raw materials for everything, because they can't buy in bulk the same way an LVMH would. Or the same way a Kering would in this case, because we were talking about Gucci. It's interesting. A lot of people don't actually understand like how economies of scale actually, it works and how important it is. This is also a very good point. If the row have investors now, Jacquemus most definitely will have them too. Yeah, it's only a matter of time before that happens, it seems. Leo says, I think the fashion bubble grew exponentially, especially with online retailers also growing. So some brands having a decline in sales isn't as worrying as people think. Yeah, and I also think that we've seen this across, this is a very great point, Leo, by the way. We've seen this across every single conglomerate. LVMH have had their issues. Even in BOF, there was that article where they were talking about the fact that LVMH has to rethink their idea of luxury and how they're going to promote their brands moving forward. The main reason why a lot of these brands are struggling, especially the brands under conglomerates like Kering and LVMH, is China. Because a lot of Chinese consumers were traveling to Japan because the yen right now is kind of weak. So they were traveling to Japan and shopping. But now, because of some of the effects of COVID and so many other things happening in China that's affecting the economy, people don't really have the same disposable income, which means less consumers are going to Japan to buy stuff and less consumers are buying stuff in China. So that's not really like it's not going to be an issue forever. It's more of like a short-term thing than, oh my God, everyone needs to be like worried. I think Kering needs to be worried more so than LVMH because Kering was like, their performance was really bad. So many of their brands were at a loss, like not at a loss, but making less money than they have in the past. Next one, I said, Kering just issued its third profit warning in a row yesterday. It's looking very peak for Sabato. Yeah, the performance of Kering, I'm going to talk about that in the next stream when we talk about what's trending. We're going to look deeper into the financial reports. But yeah, I was looking at it yesterday. It's not looking good for Kering at all. Not even in the slightest. It's not looking great. Rachel says, I think the luxury conglomerates are going to have to sell off some stuff. Maybe. Maybe. Let's see. I feel like Jacquemus is the type of brand that is going to be gutted by any conglomerate. Probably, because if we think of what sells as Jacquemus, is very much the bags. And that's what conglomerates like. But the problem with it is Jacquemus is more of a lifestyle to me. When I think of the lifestyle, I think south of France. I think of cafes in Saint-Tropez by water. It's a very much a lifestyle thing. But when sometimes these conglomerates get involved, they just weed out any personality out of a brand. So I hope that if the inevitable happens and he has investors, that they don't just come in and, absolutely destroy what the brand represents or what the brand stands for, to be honest. Leo_C says, check the Twitch chat. I don't know if you have it open or not. Oh yeah, I can see the Twitch chat, by the way. I can see it in my dashboard. I can see the YouTube and Twitch comments. Let me see what Amir is saying on Twitch. Weren't they also burning perfume and clothes because they don't sell enough? Also, didn't Adidas produce too many shoes? Yeah, almost every brand is wasteful. And when I say every brand, I mean like really big luxury brands because of just how much they produce. And this goes back once again to economies of scale. Because for a lot of these brands, not every brand, of course, and not every product, but a lot of products for a lot of these brands, the economies of scale are so favorable to these brands. It costs a lot of these brands close to nothing. I mean, we've just seen how much it costs. We have proof now of how much it costs Dior to make their bags, right? So it's next to nothing compared to what you're paying, right? So that's what I'm saying. Because they just have so much money and so much power in the economies of scale, they can afford to just destroy things to protect their brand image. I mean, Coach did it. Burberry is known for doing it. So many brands do that. And it says a lot for, paying so much money for a brand where they would literally willingly destroy their clothes. Surely, if it's valuable to them at least, or it costs them a lot of money, they're not just going to be out here destroying clothing, right? Christian says, Jacquemus is more of a fashionistas brand and a lifestyle brand, appealing primarily to those deeply involved in fashion rather than the broader market. Is that true? Because I think a lot of people that aren't necessarily that involved with fashion, they like the idea of like a Jacquemus bag and they even know what the brand is. The Old Mule says, Kering should make these brands show in-house and not these extravagant shows, which is such a waste of money. Yeah, I totally agree. I think it just depends on your business model. For someone who is a small designer, it doesn't make sense to do extravagant shows, which is why, Jacquemus is still an independent brand. Sometimes when I see the scale of the shows, I'm like, damn, they're spending a lot on marketing for a company that, doesn't have the money that an LVMH has to really just throw hundreds of millions into their marketing budget, which involves the shows and campaigns and stuff. It's insane when I see what Jacquemus does, right? But if you're as big as an LVMH, it makes sense to do these extravagant shows because it does get people talking. And in terms of marketing spend versus revenue, they know what they're doing. Otherwise, they wouldn't be making as much money as they do. You know what I mean? Tarek Walker says, losing capital in a lease situation for an independent brand, that just pictures as painfully ironic. I sometimes wonder if so many designers are in the same group chat. I've talked about that actually, but yeah. That's funny. There are people inside fashion that probably are attracted to fashion because they have always liked it before its major boom. 100%. 100%. Michael says, I really like the locations Jacquemus uses to show off the clothes. Yeah, I do too. I think they look so picturesque. They look amazing. Especially to I would love to do photography at a show just because I just like the idea of taking a picture in such a scenic place. I would love to do photography at a show like this. It would be so nice. So yeah, I do enjoy the locations that Jacquemus uses all the time. They're really nice. But yeah, that in a nutshell is what is going on at Jacquemus, and that's the story that's been going on at Jacquemus. Next, we are going to be talking about what's been going on at Vivienne Westwood, because I think this is an extremely big story. So let me just remove this from my screen, remove this Jacquemus show, and then put the article that we're going to be going through, because my word, is there some stuff brewing at Vivienne Westwood. So let me show you guys here. So here is an amazing article via the Financial Times. And this essentially talks about everything that's been going on at Vivienne Westwood and all the issues that have been happening. If you follow me on TikTok or Twitter, I've already kind of opened the conversation around this whole situation. But let's rewind to the Palace collab. So as you guys know, Palace collaborated with Vivienne Westwood, and it seems as though the collaboration with Palace has really put a nail in the coffin in terms of destroying all the relationships between Vivienne Westwood, the company, and Vivienne Westwood, the foundation. Now, if you go back and you watch my live stream reviewing the Vivienne Westwood Palace collaboration, Finn actually mentioned a lot of this that we're going to be talking about today. So you can go back and watch and have some context over there. But essentially, Vivienne Westwood's granddaughter resigned from the brand, and her name is Cora. Now, in a nutshell, before we actually read through the article and get more context, what essentially happened is Cora co-founded something called the Vivienne Foundation with her grandmother, Vivienne Westwood. Now, this foundation is all about, what Vivienne Westwood was passionate about. So looking at things like climate change, fighting for human rights, and all those things. Now, where the dispute comes in is Cora is claiming that just before Vivienne Westwood passed, she transferred all the rights of her designs to the foundation from the Vivienne Westwood company. So of course, when this Palace collaboration happened, it kind of caused a big dispute at the brand, because the Vivienne Westwood Foundation were like, well, we did not give you any permission to use our IP to do this collaboration. But the Vivienne Westwood company just ignored the foundation and did it anyway. And so that is essentially what this article talks about, of course, in way more context. So we're going to read through it, get all the context, and then we're going to talk further. It's not a really long article, by the way, so it's something I can read through really quickly. So it says, the granddaughter of Dame Vivienne Westwood has resigned from the eponymous fashion house in a dispute over the legacy of the late British designer and her use of her designs. Cora Core, who works with Vivienne Westwood Company, has called for its chief executive, Carlo Diamario, to be removed in a letter to staff that announced her resignation. Westwood, working with Malcolm McLaren, pioneered the taboo-busting punk aesthetic in their Kings Road clothes shop in West London in the 1970s. The Vivienne Westwood Company was set up in 1993 to sell the designer's clothing and merchandise. Core, a co-founder of the Vivienne Westwood Foundation, a not-for-profit organisation set up with her grandmother in 2019 to support causes advocated by the designer, such as tackling climate change and defending human rights. Core has acted as a bridge between the Vivienne Westwood Company and the Vivienne Foundation as tensions arose between the two. Now, I'm going to stop there because that's a very, very interesting thing to consider. The fact that she was actually acting as the bridge between the Vivienne Westwood Company and the Vivienne Foundation, even as tensions arose between the two. So now that she's resigned, what does that mean for there being kind of like a middleman or a middlewoman in this case between the foundation and the company? And that's why I'm going to talk about it later when we're done reading the article. This could unfortunately lead to a very, very messy lawsuit because there's going to be a fight around who owns what, who has the rights to which design. Did Vivienne Westwood, sign off the rights to these things in paper? Can they throw these things out legally in court? All these kind of conversations will be happening definitely very soon. But continuing on, it says, relations have strained since Westwood's death in 2022, with disputes arising over the company's rights to use her designs. The foundation says Westwood transferred all her pre-1993 creative design and property rights to it, including some of her best-known punk and post-punk work. The foundation in October objected to the use of Westwood's design archive by the company in a collaboration with skate label Palace. At the time, it argued the use of designs from the archive showed a blatant disregard for Vivienne's wishes, her legacy, and the foundation. The foundation has said that the Vivienne Westwood Company has also successfully moved to trademark the Vivienne Foundation. In her letter to company staff, Core alleged that her grandmother had been unhappy with the way the business was being run. The company did not immediately respond to a request for comment. So, like I've said, this is a lot is going on at the Vivienne Westwood brand in that sense. And I think you can see it from many different perspectives because we don't have like the true info. We don't know legally how Vivienne Westwood transferred the rights. We have no idea. We've just heard that, she did transfer the rights. We don't know how. We don't know which lawyer did it, through which lawyer, through which company. And so this, I can see being a very, very messy situation. And you can kind of see, when things like this happen, you can always see the writing on the wall. You can literally see so many people. Normally there's like a restructuring that normally happens and you're like, okay, something is going on in this brand. Because I remember at Vivienne Westwood when Jeff Banks exited, and I'll show you guys actually, there's a really good article I was reading not too long ago about this, where you're just like, you're seeing people leaving, you're seeing people being fired, and then you're seeing disputes between the foundation and the brand. It's only a matter of time before something seriously messy happens. So here you can see, this is an article that came out in July this year. It reads, Vivienne Westwood boardroom upheaval sees Jeff Banks exit. And it says, Jeff Banks has been ousted from the board of Vivienne Westwood in a high-level coup that has seen him on the opposite side of tussle for control with her husband, Westwood creative director Andreas, and the firm CEO Carlo Diamario, which is funny because Carlo is now the person that, of course, Vivienne Westwood's granddaughter is saying should be removed because everything he's doing is really bad for the brand. Of course, here they also talk about the fact that Banks was really good friends with Vivienne Westwood. He was also somewhat of a business mentor of hers for many different years. So from all angles, the whole thing just doesn't really look good. From every single angle, everything just looks really messy. And I hope that this doesn't end badly. That's what I'm really hoping. Let's see what Leo is saying. Is Vivienne Westwood's name also legally copywritten? Because that makes it almost impossible for the brand. They'll just go in circles for disputes. And that's the thing. Because we don't really know for sure the legal specifics, we're just going to have to watch it play out. Obviously, it's my job to tell you guys the news and tell you what's happening. But we're obviously going to update the story and we're going to follow it and see what happens from here. Where does it go? What happens between the foundation and the brand? And what exactly this just means for the future of the brand? Because this might mean, quite literally, that they can't do anything because they're just going to have to wait until they have the rights or this whole thing is fixed. So it might get to a point where there are less collections, there are less designs being put out, the brand kind of stagnates, and that's going to affect the brand financially. So to me, it's all really a mess. It's really, really a mess. Also, to the old mule, yes, Jeff Banks was someone that really helped Vivienne out when she was struggling. And that's why when you see people like that being removed from a brand, you can always see the writing on the wall. You can always see the writing on the wall. Leo says, like, it's one thing the orb is legally owned by the foundation, but if she legally traded her brand under her name from conception, then we are literally facing the end of Vivienne Westwood. And that's the thing, right? Because the company owns the rights to her name, which is why the foundation, from my understanding, is called the Vivienne Foundation. It probably can't even be called the Vivienne Westwood Foundation because they don't have, the rights to be able to do that, which is why they're like looking to see how they can register that. So, yeah, it's about to be a messy, messy ride. I don't like it because obviously I'm a fan of Vivienne Westwood's work historically. And it's sad to see such an iconic brand have issues that could potentially lead to the downfall of the brand long term. I don't like that. I'm a fan of Vivienne Westwood. I just hope that this doesn't lead to the downfall of the brand long term. Emir_R5 says, do you think the financial hit will be significant enough to really hurt the company? It could be, depending on how bad the legal battles get. But it definitely could be. I can see a situation in which, like, the legal situation can really mess up the brand financially, long term. The next man says, all for this Dead Palace collab. Brazy, brazy, brazy. Low key though, because I have 2 pieces from the Palace collab. Low key, that I have Grails now. Low key, they're like the band Jordans. It's like, oh, this was the collab that should never have happened. So you never know. You never know. Rose says, does anyone know if Vivienne Westwood Limited or the foundation owns World End? World's End would always rehash the pre-93 pieces. I'm wondering what's going on there. Yeah, that's true. I don't know. I can't answer that question. That might be a question for Finn. I can imagine that the foundation would own World's End because I know the World's End store, this I definitely know. The World's End store is definitely separate from all the other stores. All the other Vivienne Westwood stores worldwide. Like, it's different company, different management, everything. The resale game about to be hella strong. So I got the bondage flight bomber jacket and I got a pair of socks. So yeah, those are the 2 pieces I got. The old mule says, would it be a bad thing? Her history and creativity is well behind them now. As Andreas is killing the reputation she spent years building. He definitely is, by the way. I definitely agree with that. I guess there is this sentiment sometimes that we have in fashion where it's like, once the founder of a brand has left, there's no reason for the brand to still exist because it can't really exist in the way that the founder intended it to. And I definitely see that to be the case. We have this conversation all the time when it comes to a brand like Alexander McQueen. However, business is business. And I always say this, but you can't expect someone who has invested so much money into a brand to just be like, okay, I'm just going to let go of all my hundreds of millions of investment just because you guys want me to. Like, that's not really how business works. If we're being realistic and pragmatic, of course, we would like things to stay true to the essence of what the brands are supposed to represent. However, business dictates that that is never the case. Sell the socks for $1,000, gas them in the description. Most controversial collaboration to date. That's so true. Rose says, everything always goes to shit when the founder of a house dies. I hate it. They set up the foundation so this wouldn't happen, but here we are. I know, right? I know. When I posted my video on Instagram about this, a lot of people were saying that they hope that the foundation stays alive and the brand dies. And then there are also people on the flip side. A lot of people on the flip side were saying that, well, the foundation is more about doing things that are morally right for the brand, but not necessarily business wise. And if you leave everything to the foundation, they might run the brand into the ground financially. Either way, it's not looking good. Either way, whatever angle you look at it from. Leah says, I agree with that sentiment if the designer had codes and design that was so intrinsically tied to them and the brand doesn't hire designers whom were lovers, friends, stands of the brand's culture. Yeah. Which is why, going back to McQueen, even though people are always like, oh, McQueen's wish was, to get rid of the brand once the brand was done. Sarah Burton was always the seamless transition because she was there for so long, right? So I think it depends. I think it just depends how you see it. I don't think there's any right way to see it. I think some brands have benefited from being able to continue, and then some brands haven't. The Netro Man says, since Cristobal Balenciaga died, the house has gone from strength to strength. A lot of people would disagree with you on that one. I definitely can agree to a certain extent with that, but yeah, a lot of people disagree with you on that one. Oh my God, that's so funny. Luke says, McQueen's wish was not to close the brand. He changed his mind in 2009. Yeah, I'm more talking about the conversation that people have online. Because what happens is that clip of McQueen saying what he said, I feel like it makes the rounds on TikTok and Instagram let's say every 3 months. Every 3 months or so, or every 4 months, there's a page that posts that clip like we haven't seen it a trillion times. And there's a page that's like, oh my God, do you guys remember when McQueen said this? And then it opens up a big conversation of, oh, founders, once they leave their house, just shut the house down. It's like, that's more online discourse that happens. I literally see that clip every 4 months. It's so hilarious. It's quite funny. On TikTok and Instagram, I see the same clips at 4 to 6 month intervals. It's so funny. I kid, the Balenciaga today is not the house of Cristobal at all. The thing about creative directors dying and McQueen continuing, I always think about the most skillful tailors in the market being out of job after him dying. The old mule says, Vivienne stopped being in control of the collections in the late 90s. Andreas did the majority of the collections. That's when I stopped buying it. Yeah, because she was more focused on like her activism and obviously later on the foundation and things like that. So that is very true. But my issue is so I'm not really interested in modern Vivienne Westwood. It's just not for me at all. I could care less. Of course, they're really successful and they're making loads of money on the accessories. Especially the orb pendant necklaces, my word. They are going triple damn platinum. Let me go on their website. Those orb necklaces, everyone I know that is remotely into fashion and kind of edgy, even people that don't really care about fashion too much, they have those. It's actually insane how many people have those things. So that kind of seems to be what is keeping them afloat. But outside of that, I don't, the ready-to-wear of Vivienne Westwood right now doesn't interest me. So what really interests me about Vivienne Westwood, personally, is them having the ability to have collaborations with really cool brands and re-release interesting things that I wasn't alive to buy at the time. So I would love to buy a collaboration or a rehash of those kind of things. That is the only thing that interests me about Vivienne Westwood, to be honest. So Andreas, his designs could care less, to be honest. Could actually care less. I love when a random page decides to farm engagement with clips we've seen already. It kind of works though, because every time I see those kind of clips, I go to the comments to see if people are going to say, haven't we seen this like a million times? And most of the comments are just people saying that they've never seen it before. Like, oh, this is like really good and like interesting insights. So I'm like, oh, damn. I must be in like a really bad bubble. Oh, yeah. The Vivienne Westwood necklaces, they're terrible quality. Definitely. They're horrible quality. However, the pass I will give Vivienne Westwood is that they are affordable. Like, look at this. This is a bracelet. It's £125. This is not, silver toned brass charging £2,000 or whatever. Like, the prices are actually semi decent. Like, this is like £400. It's okay. I can get with it. The Shelly choker, $550. You've got pearl and orb earrings for $215. Yeah, so the pass I give Vivienne Westwood is that the price is just not so, completely outrageous that you're just like, what the hell? It's just like fashion, show jewelry, and I guess we understand that, and the price point also represents that. Silver tone brass, innit? My coveted Vivienne thing is that giant cheek safety pin. Oh, that's really cool. Also, a lot of people just love like corsets, to get Vivienne Westwood corsets, because obviously if you look at just the history of Vivienne Westwood in general, from a styling perspective, Vivienne Westwood would style corsets as outerwear, which was really cool, and started to play with the idea of what corsetry is as a piece that you wear on the outside, not on the inside. So, of course, corsetry also does really well for Vivienne Westwood, even now. And that goes back to collaborations, because I think if they collaborate with really interesting brands, they can do really cool things with the corsetry. I think with the Palace collab, what they did with the corsetry was very lackluster. But there are other brands they could work with that the stuff could be really interesting, and they can make corsets for men that I would love to explore. That's what I'm interested in Vivienne Westwood. Like, also people are saying the plaids. That's what I'm saying. So when I say the stuff that I wasn't old enough to be able to buy, I just kind of want to buy that. So I just wait patiently for them to collab with brands or re-release things that I personally like. That's what interests me about Vivienne Westwood. But all the modern ready-to-wear, not my cup of tea, not my cuppa at all, mate. Like, not at all, mate. Not at all. You've got a penis pendant necklace, £190. Interesting. Does anyone have quality anymore? There are a few people that have quality, just not many, it seems. I wants to be in the streets wasteless, 6'2" and snatched. Yeah, everyone in the comments, you guys are saying that the plaids are good. Yeah, 100%. I said in the last live stream that I'm looking for kind of like a skirt kilt kind of vibe, but I haven't bought one yet because I'm just looking for the perfect one. But if Vivienne Westwood with their plaid, they just released a nice looking skirt that's kind of boxy in shape, I'm gonna buy that shit. And it's kind of long, I'm definitely gonna buy that shit. Remember that Burberry collaboration? That was naff. Oh my god, I haven't used that word in a while. Naff. I love that word. It was very naff, yeah. Mass production killed quality. Like what you like, the end. I totally agree. So the thing about Thom Browne for me is the Thom Browne silhouette of skirts are too fitted for me. I don't want a skirt for men that's that fitted. I need something more loose fitting and also longer. They're a bit too fitted. The quality jewelry is bought by the silent millionaires. I mean, you can go to Hatton Garden in, I don't know about other cities, countries. In London, you can go to Hatton Garden, which is kind of like the place for jewelry in London where all the like designers work and stuff. And you can just get custom stuff made. You can literally just go to Hatton Garden, talk to one of the artisans there and tell them exactly what you want custom made and they'll make it. Like, it's not, if you're looking for quality, there's places to go. I think the problem with our society Oh my God, it's sociology. Here we go. The problem with our society is that I think a lot of us are brand whores. I am too, to an extent, by the way. I'm not going to critique everyone and, absolve myself of critique. I'm a brand whore too sometimes. Where like, instead of me just going to a tailor and getting a bespoke coat that fits better, I'm going to go to Andermelemeister and buy the coat instead because it's Andermelemeister. That is me being a bit of a brand whore. So I do think that if quality is your ultimate goal, if you're less of a brand whore and you should care less about brands and just go to the actual artisans that make the shit. If that's the only way you're really going to get quality, you want an overcoat, you want, a shirt made in any kind of way, go to a tailor. Get it made custom. Choose the fabrics, choose everything. I'm a two-timing whore. I love custom and brand. Same. I am a bit of a brand whore. Like, guys, I I can own up to my trappings as well. I'm not going to call everyone else a brand whore without calling myself one, because I definitely am. But I think it's a societal issue in general. Luke says, is that how her name is? Yeah, Andermelemeister. That's how you say her name. I just don't always say it that way because I might be talking really fast and I might say it the English way, like Andermelemeister. But yeah, it's actually Andermelemeister. We are all brand whores, brand sluts even. P.S. I'm so broke. Some reasonable prices, if can please, if anyone wants to share. So guys, if you have any reasonable price, nice things for Lil_C, definitely share your thoughts in the comments. When you said you sounded more British saying it the right way. I certainly didn't. Andermelemeister, that's the American way of saying it. Andermelemeister, the Mulemeister, Andy. I feel like it's probably Americans that started calling her Andy because they didn't want to say her name. Andy, I got the Andy on. I'm fitted in the Andy. The Mulemeister. Anyway, let me stop. I feel like every stream we have a British versus American roast session. It's quite funny. Lil_C says, I need a closet update ASAP. Appreciate you putting me up there. Oh yeah, of course. Well, this is a community, guys. We're here to help each other. The best cheap jewelry I found is at estate sales. Yeah, if you want really interesting, especially 95 sterling silver, I only wear silver jewelry, so I'm mainly only like a silver person. Maybe one day if I get rich or something, I'm just gonna, instead of getting the silver, I'll just get white gold instead or something like that. But when you go to like, in London, there are places like Camden where they just have these market stores and they have this old jewelry that's 95 sterling silver, amazing quality, and they'll be selling the like rings, necklaces for like £10 each. It's insane. And such interesting jewelry that like you've never seen, like crazy ass rings, crazy stuff that I'm like, wow, £10, are you sure? Like, I wouldn't even mind paying more, to be honest. Al says, meanwhile, my ass goes to the global south to a middle of the mall tailor and show them pictures of Rick Owens jacket skirts and then waffle about when they want $600 for a full custom piece. Yeah, people are talking about Istanbul. Istanbul's amazing for that, by the way. Istanbul has artisans from all over, whether you're talking about jewelry making, clothing. Like, Istanbul is an amazing place to go to. Of course, I went there and filmed my documentary and I learned so much being there, but it's so amazing for stuff like that. Like, really, really. I couldn't recommend it more. Now we're talking about the Antwerp 6. Interesting. Why the Antwerp? Let me put a picture of the Antwerp 6 on the screen. Just so we know that now we're talking about the Antwerp 6. The Antwerp 6. Let's have a picture of them. There we go. The Antwerp 6. So anyway, okay, back to the question. Why are the Antwerp 6 mostly out of commission though? Nobody in America pronounces her name like that because nobody knows who she is. For all the hype the 6 get, they sure gave up quick. Okay, so let me run through them. Walter van Beirendonck is reaching retirement age. The last time I spoke to Walter van Beirendonck, I see him all the time because I'm always like interviewing him for different things and stuff. So like when I see him, it's like, oh, hi. Last time I spoke to Walter, he was telling me that in Belgium, I think they have like a retirement age. So he was even telling me, because he was head of the Antwerp Academy, right? He was saying that he's going to have to resign soon because of the retirement thing. So I think in his case, it's more so like an age thing. He did say he's going to focus on his brand, but it's going to kind of slow down. So that's the whole Walter van Beirendonck situation. I think most of them are just purists. I think with Dries van Noten is very much a purist. He cares about the craft. And when he saw how overly commercial everything went, people don't care about quality. People are very unethical. I remember during COVID, Dries van Noten had this like call to arms where he wrote this letter to the industry where things need to slow down. And I remember at the time, everyone was like, yeah, Dries, we agree with you. You're totally right. You know, everything should slow down. Everyone was co-signing his letter. And as soon as COVID ended, everything went straight back to normal. And so when Dries van Noten said he was stepping down from his brand, it made so much sense to me. It's like, yeah, he's tired of the system. Obviously, Margiela is not one of the Antwerp 6. He's kind of like a honorary member, but Margiela is kind of in the same boat in terms of it having issues with the industry and the way it functions and the way the business runs and just quitting because of that. Same thing with... So Marina Yee is a bit different. Marina Yee kind of just works at her own pace. So Marina Yee's brand just kind of comes and goes when she likes. I think her brand is back active now. Let me see. Let me go on her Instagram page. Let's see. Marina Yee. Okay, so this was posted 1 day ago on her Instagram page. So she's back designing. So that's the thing. Marina Yee just like will design, take a really long break and then come back and design. There was a time when she took a really long break and she was just like doing workshops and teaching and stuff. So I think it just really depends. Same thing. Dirk Bickenberg is less involved with his brand, but his brand very much still runs. The brand sells the famous boots that everyone loves. So that's the case with Dirk Bickenberg. Let me just put some Dirk Bickenberg on the screen. I always have to do this because I do realize when I'm talking about all this stuff that people don't know what I'm talking about. So I always have to put, a visual image of what I'm talking about on the screen so people can contextualize what I'm saying even more. Also, another member, Dirk van Sane. So Dirk van Sane was teaching at the Royal Academy with Walter van Beirendonck. Actually, in my vlog, when I went to Antwerp last, you actually see Dirk van Sane. I was talking to Dirk van Sane in my vlog when I went to Antwerp because Dirk van Sane was mainly focused on the MA students at the Antwerp Academy. And Walter, obviously, he deals with everyone, but he does focus a lot on the BA students. So I went into the MA studio and Dirk van Sane was teaching there. So that's the case with Dirk van Sane. So I wouldn't say they're all like they totally gave up. And, I wouldn't say they're totally just out of fashion completely. Even Anne Meester, she obviously left her brand a while ago, but she's still involved. I spoke to the creative director who's there now, and he was telling me that, oh yeah, she's really involved. And you can tell that she's really involved because not that long ago, they released the fragrance, which was done by Anne Meester. Even the new store, well, it's not new anymore, but the store in Antwerp that got renovated, all of that was done by her and Patrick Robin, her husband. So all of them are really actually involved in fashion. They're just not front-facing anymore. I just think they're purists. And when they saw that the industry was going to commercial and in a way and in a direction that they didn't agree with, I think a lot of them just decided we're just not playing this fashion system anymore. We're not playing this game. So yeah, that's the situation with the Antwerp 6. That's the update on the lovely, lovely Antwerp 6. That's funny. I feel like I just did on YouTube when you look at the whole where are they now type things. I feel like I just did a where are they now for the Antwerp 6. Amir_R5 said, didn't Water store close due to financial reasons? Oh yeah, but that was a while ago. I'm more talking about like recent stuff. That is true, by the way, but that was a while ago. I think even in my vlog, I showed where Walter van Buren... Yes, I did. I remember I did. I showed where Walter van Burendonk's old store used to be in my vlog. But yeah, it closed down a while ago due to financial reasons. That was a while back. Tarek says, that's why I really salute Dries. He held it down for 30 plus years. Facts. All I hear is painters and gardeners now. All jokes aside, I don't like this, the system is rough attitude the 6 have. Then how about you revolutionize the system? Nope, all of them garden now. Nah, I don't think they have the power to change the system though. Like, how the hell are Dries Van Noten and, Andy and Dirk Van Sane and Walter Van Berendonk and Dirk Bickenbach, how are they exactly going to fight conglomerates? Because the reason why the system is the way it is and the reason why everyone's cutting corners and trying to maximize profit margins is to do with the big conglomerates and how they operate and how they do business. How the hell are you going to compete with those guys? It's impossible. It's literally impossible. There's absolutely nothing you can do. It's either you just continue to navigate the system in frustration or you quit. One thing you're definitely not going to do is change or challenge the system against LVMH. Like, that's just not going to happen. Damn. Well, for the hype and glazing they get, they can't move down tables. Damn. Well, the system is whack then. Who wants to deal with that? Damn. No space for the Antwerp 6, I guess. Just revolutionize your industry. Easy. It's not just fashion. The system is across all industries, from cars to video games, even movies. Yeah, I totally agree. Of course, we are just specifically talking about fashion now, but I totally agree. Even cars, like, don't get me started on cars before I start ranting. The quality of cars has gone down so much, and the prices of cars are so expensive. It's insane how expensive. Even the most basic cars are so expensive these days. It's like, what? Like, the price that people are charging for the most basic new cars is like shocking. The system is not changing from front-facing individuals. You're not beating Daddy Arnault as a designer. You better have a couple billion to change the system. Exactly. Money talks. And there isn't really much you can do about that, to be honest. Money does 100% talk. But yeah, that was fun, kind of running through the Antwerp 6, where are they now type of whole spiel. But the last thing that we're going to talk about, guys, is, of course, the Lyst Index that came out. So, as you guys are probably aware, because people have been talking about this online, this is the Lyst Index for Q3. So we are going to be we're going to read through everything and kind of see which brands are buzzing right now, what products are trending, what brands are on the uptick, what brands are on the downturn, and all sorts. So let's go straight to the index. Let's have a look at some of that stuff. So, of course, Madame Mucha Prada is having a laugh right now. She has since the last Lyst Index. Miu Miu is right there at the top. Prada remains in the 3rd position. Something that really stood out to me is Alaya. Alaya went up by 12 points, which is insane. Also, Balenciaga went down by 10 points. That's very significant. Victoria Beckham being in the top 20 is shocking. That really shocked me. Chloe makes sense because I feel like since Chimena Kamali has been involved with the Chloe brand, they've started to have a real buzz about the brand. It's been really interesting seeing the buzz come back around Chloe. So that makes a lot of sense. Of course, I have multiple videos and streams on Chimena Kamali at this point, so you can check those out if you want to learn more about what she's been doing at Chloe, her plans, what she said in interviews, all that sort of stuff that's been covered. Victoria Beckham, though, it'll be good to read what they say as their rationale for why Victoria is here. So it said they dropped a denim refresh campaign. They introduced their first See Now Buy Now dress during September show in Paris, and they launched their fourth fragrance during during their Paris Fashion Week show. Now, that's interesting because for the longest time, as most of you know, if you've been following the whole Victoria Beckham saga, Victoria Beckham made a loss so many years in a row, I lost count. I don't even know who was funding that brand. There is no brand on this planet, apart from Victoria Beckham, that would make a loss that many years in a row and still be in business. But it's very amazing to see that she's almost weathered the storm for so many years to the point where now it's actually like profitable. They had a really good year last year financially. This year it's looking like they're even on the uptick. So that's good on her. Shout out to Victoria Beckham. But the brand wouldn't even exist if it was anyone else. If there wasn't that David Beckham money kind of, moving the needle, the brand literally would not be in existence to even be on this list in the first place. So, hey, all you guys need to do is just have a rich spouse. Let's see. I want to see what they say for every brand. So let's start with Miu Miu. It says, launch Miu Miu Barrel Mall pop-up stores in Asia and on Miu Miu website for the first time. Introduced the new Fall Winter 24 campaign with Cara Delevingne. Launched Miu Miu Women Tales number 28 edition in Venice with director Laura Citarella. That's interesting. Okay, so Loewe. Yeah, the Casa Loewe in Seoul was a big thing. I remember a lot of people talking about that. Of course, the runway show. Prada, of course, just right here. I remember seeing news stories on the Luna Rossa event. So that's really cool. The two ones I actually want to see, because a lot of them are kind of in the same position. The Row, of course, has gone up 7 places. That makes sense, as they've said. Received investment from Chanel and L'Oreal, like literally opened their first store in Paris. Worn by Elizabeth Olsen, Kendall Jenner, and Harry Styles. Really, it's because of the investment, let's be honest. So that makes a lot of sense. Gucci, a lot of these brands are in the same position. Ralph Lauren is in. That makes a lot of sense because they dressed the US Olympic team at the Paris Olympics, which they've mentioned here. Long-standing partnerships with Wimbledon, the US Open, the championships. All of that makes sense. A lot of them are basically in the same position. But Alaya, let's see what they have to say about Alaya. Dressed Taylor Russell and Tilda Swinton at the Venice International Film Festival. Presented Winter Spring Summer 25 collection at the Guggenheim Museum. They launched their Summer Fall 24 campaign. Okay, I think really with Alaya, it's the ballet flats, which we're going to get into when we scroll down into what products are, really moving the needle for a lot of these brands. Let's see what they said about Balenciaga. They launched the Le City bag campaign featuring Nicole Kidman and Kate Moss. We talked about that already. We talked about that in a live stream. Released an app for the Apple Vision Pro headset. Held a Summer 25 show in Paris. A tribute to fashion that has a point of view. Yeah, we've covered all of that in the past already. Now, of course, the main story in this list, index is Alaya because it went up by 12 points. So, of course, they have a dedicated section on Alaya. It says the desire for Alaya. There was a 109% increase in sales, which is insane. So it says, is luxury losing its chokehold on the Lyst Index? Our third quarter report reveals a big summer shakeup of the hottest brand rankings. 4 new entrants make the chart, sending shockwaves through the table as the playing field continues to open up to premium and contemporary labels. September show season, usually a peak inspiration moment for luxury fashion shoppers, failed to galvanize demand from customers faced with soaring prices, global economic instability, and a darkening geopolitical climate, which obviously they're basically explaining why luxury as a whole if you look at the Kerings, the LVMHs, everything in general, you know, everything is going downhill. So they're just kind of prefacing the whole list index by starting with that point of view. So continuing, it says, this quarter's data suggests the aspirational fashion fan is still shopping, but is thoughtful and open-minded when it comes to discovering or rediscovering the brands worth investing in now. Oh, they have a section on Miu Miu. This should be interesting. They also said there's a 51% rise in searches for Alaya this quarter. So Miu Miu takes back the #1 spot, overtaking Loewe as the hottest brand this quarter. As global demand for Miu Miu's distinctive alt girl aesthetic continues to accelerate, searches jumped a further 30% quarter on quarter. Miu Miu girls and boys are wishlisting the $3,050 arcade bag, this quarter's 4th hottest product, but the real success story this quarter is the impressive ascent of Alaya, jumping 12 places to become the 5th hottest fashion brand in the world. At the helm since 2021, creative director Pieter Mulier has reinvigorated the brand while respecting the house's heritage. Desire for Alaya is deepening. Demand rose 51% this quarter, with customers responding to the sensuality and meticulous craftsmanship of Mulier's collections. Hero Alaya products are holding their cachet well over a year since the mighty Alaya flats first appeared in the hottest products ranking in Q2 of 2023. That's crazy. Let me pause there, by the way. Alaya flats have been going triple platinum since Q2 of 2023. Of course, this quarter, everyone's talking about the fishnet versions, but that's crazy. Alaya flats have really had fashion in a chokehold. Can't even talk. These braces make me sound illiterate. Continuing on, it says, the fishnet style is this quarter's hottest product, with the Teckle and Le Coeur bags also still driving significant demand worldwide. Building on September's well-received show at the Guggenheim in New York, can Alaya maintain its momentum up the chart? Now, before I continue about Alaya, there is an amazing interview with Pieter Mulier in a magazine that I'm going to talk about on TikTok and Instagram tomorrow. I plan on making a video about that. If you are in the Discord, which is free to join, by the way, so just join it if you can. I actually posted screenshots from that interview for everyone in the Discord to read. So if you were to go into the Discord, into the fashion section and type Alaya, my screenshots would come up. Definitely read that. That was a very eye-opening interview when it comes to Pieter Mulier and just kind of his ideas of what his vision of Alaya is, why he sees Alaya the way he wants to, like why he sees Alaya the way he does, what his future plans are for the brand, kind of how Azzedine Alaya himself, how the way he used to run the brand is informing the way that Pieter Mulier is running it. So if you want really in-depth insight into the direction that Alaya is going, definitely join the Discord. It's free to join. Once again, the link is in the description. And read that interview via the screenshots. I would suggest everyone to read it because it's really, really good information. But anyway, continuing on. Entering the list index in 14th position, Ralph Lauren product engagement has spiked 151% this quarter, a key player in the summer of sport. High-profile activations at the Olympics and Wimbledon garnered worldwide attention and helped the brand capture the global trend for status sportswear. Other new entrants include the contemporary brand Totem, taking 16th position 10 years after the label was founded by Ellen Kling and her husband Carl Lindemann, and Victoria Beckham claiming 19th place with demand driven by trench coats and dresses. Under the creative direction of Chimene Kamali, the Chloe boho revival is gaining traction and stimulating a halo effect for searches inspired by her brand. Chloe enters the list index for the first time in 20th position. That's crazy, actually, that Chloe has never been in the list index. Of course, the list index is not like a very old thing, but that's crazy. Chimene is really like, you know, bringing this brand back from the ashes. That's crazy. That is actually crazy. But anyway, continuing on. Sneaker of the summer goes to the $100 Puma Speed Cat, the quarter's 3rd hottest product as seen on Dua Lipa. Emily, and I won't pronounce her surname even though I can because of my braces. Continuing the trend for streamlined retro silhouettes, demand spiked 532% in August. They are joined by Ganni's biker boots and Clark's wallaby as key shoe styles, stimulating demand from Gen Z shoppers. Looking ahead to fashion's golden quarter, we predict more turbulence in the index as fashion's power brands compete to capture holiday spending. Check in the next quarter for an update on the brands truly connecting with customers in this challenging and rapidly evolving market. So now we get into the product. So we can see the Alaya fishnet ballet flats going absolute triple platinum. The Coach Brooklyn bag has really done a number, by the way. I see everyone wearing it. I post all the time, like Bella Hadid seen wearing a Coach Brooklyn bag. I feel like everyone is wearing a Coach Brooklyn bag. That's something that I see all the time. The Alaya flats, I see that all the time. The Puma Speed Cats, I must be kind of out of the loop because I'm not personally seeing, obviously it's on the list, so obviously people are wearing it. I'm just saying personally I haven't seen it all over the place. I haven't really been seeing it. The Clark's Wallabies, I definitely can see the revival happening. I've definitely seen a lot of people wearing the Clark's Wallabies, but yeah, the Puma Speed Cats, maybe I need to start just walking around in London and seeing what people are wearing. But that's fair enough. It's good though that, there's something affordable. Not everything is about having luxury shoes and all those kind of things. There's things that people can actually afford on this list. Like Clark's Wallabies, obviously the Speed Cats. You've got the Miu Miu bag, the Totem country jacket. Interesting, the Frankie shop. Interesting, pleated Piper pants. Interesting. Tom Ford sunglasses always go triple platinum. I feel like there's always going to be some form of, Tom Ford glasses doing really well. So that doesn't really surprise me here. Also, a Ganni boot being here doesn't surprise me. Ganni footwear always does really well. I remember a few seasons ago, Ganni released these loafers. I can't remember what they were called, but everyone was buying those loafers. I saw every influencer wearing those things. And of course, some of it could just be like paid marketing, but it did seem like, so many people were wearing those loafers by Ganni. But yeah, shout out to Alaya and Peter Mulia for all the things that he's doing at the brand, to be honest. Someone said the fuck is the Frankie shop. Yeah, that's why I was surprised. The Frankie shop is like, would I call it like mid-level? It's kind of like, like mid-level clothing, kind of. It's like, it kind of sits in, it's kind of like minimalist. It's kind of like COS, if I can say it that way. It's kind of like, it's like COS Atelier. It's like prices of like COS Atelier. It's like Joseph or Jigsaw. It's like around, when I think of the Frankie shop, I think of those kind of brands. It's kind of alongside those. That's the market it sits in. COS Atelier, Arquette, Jigsaw, Joseph, that kind of stuff. Yeah, Longchamp is always a good bag. That's facts. That's facts. Ganni Searsucker and Gingham has me in the chokeholds. This is very true. Ganni keep a product on them at all times. All times. They're locked and loaded. At all times. Most of those products are Miu Miu coded. Are they? Definitely the ballet flats. I can see what you're saying. But definitely not the Wallabies or the Tom Ford glasses. Or even the country jacket. No, when I say, disco, when I said mid-fashion, I didn't mean mid in the sense of mid as in bad fashion, as in mid as in like trash. I mean mid as in like mid-level luxury. There's like luxury, like, I don't know, Celine, Hermes, Chanel. There's mid-level luxury, mid-tier, which is like COS Atelier, Joseph, Lacoste in some ways, Jigsaw, those kind of brands, and then there's fast fashion, and then there's more expensive fast fashion like Zara. There's like different categories. I didn't mean like the Frankie shop is mid. That's not what I meant. You says the average American millennial white woman loves a good long shop bag. Yeah, we love the millennial white woman. Shout out to the American millennial white women that love a good long shop bag. I think the Puma, funny enough, always have a sneaker that sneaks its way into the mainstream. Fair play. Yeah, because Puma always have sneakers that are kind of easy to dress up and down. They always have, like, a lot of their shoes are made of suede and they have really cool colors that they make their stuff with. So, you know, it doesn't surprise me at all. It doesn't surprise me. Ganni is sadly overpriced and the quality has significantly gone down since they sold. I mean, that's the case with every company that sells. Yeah, well, of course, we talk about this all the time, but, you know, history repeats itself. Some things just don't really change. Prada are doing that totem coat right now. That's funny. Oh my gosh, Rachel said, I feel so perceived. That's so funny. That's so funny. But yeah, thank you guys for coming to my TED Talk. Thank you very much for coming to my TED Talk. If there's any more topics you want to discuss, let me know. And then after that, I shall take my leave and I shall go back and work hard. Guys, I've actually been working hard. I've been clipping the streams more. I've been getting them out better. I'm more consistent with the live streams. You know, I'm warming up, guys. I'm warming up. And Maximus says, the Westwood situation is fascinating. What are the odds the Palace collaboration items resale value skyrocket? Yeah, I kind of said that before where I said that, you know, now that I have pieces from the collaboration, my stuff might go triple platinum because it's just a thing. It's the moment. It's the controversy around it. It's like, oh, this, you know, collaboration might become really valuable for twisted reasons. But I can see a situation in which, you know, that happens. Where's that article you mentioned about Aliyah? You know what? Give me 1 second. I'm going to show you. Let me just remove my screen for a sec. Okay, so here we are. Let me just remove this so I can talk about this, so I can show you guys. So, Culture, this is just for you. So this is the magazine. It's called Beyond Noise. Honestly, one of my favorite new magazines. This is their first issue. So it comes in this. It's a sleeve. It's got these two massive bits. I'll show you. I read everything front to back in one sitting. That's how good the writing in this magazine is. And I was so happy because, yes, there are ads. This is like the perfect magazine. This is like what I aspire my magazine to be at some point, where you have ads, you make money, but it doesn't take away from, you know, being a really good magazine in its own right. So here you can see it's, oh, the exposure is a bit high. But let me show you the interview. But it is in the Discord, by the way. So there are also other interviews with really interesting designers. So there's one with Grace Wells Bonner in this magazine that's really good. That interview was done by Karen Binns, if I'm remembering correctly. So that was a really cool interview to read as well. Let me just see what page the Aliyah interview is, so I can kind of show you guys on the screen. But yeah, if you actually want to read it, because you probably won't be able to read it in the live, my light will probably make the exposure a bit strange and, you know, hard to look. But yeah, people are saying it's thick. I know, and it's three separate like pieces, as you guys can see. Amazing magazine. And it's, like I said, when I see a good magazine, I'm always going to shout them out because so many magazines are trash as fuck these days. Like, magazines are trash these days. That's why people are always like, oh, what magazines do you recommend? And I'm just like, none. But Beyond Noise is one that I would say, if you, because it's quite expensive, if you have the money to buy this magazine, definitely support the work they're doing, because I think they are doing amazing work personally. I think this magazine, sensational. And I don't say that about many magazines, as you guys know. I say a lot of magazines are trash as fuck because they are. So if I'm saying a magazine is, amazing, it's probably because I mean it. We're still looking for this Elia interview. I'm gonna find it. I'm determined, guys. I'm going to find this just for culture. The Nectar Man says, I had to unsubscribe from Vogue. 2 clicks to sign up. To sign up, you got to call their office between 10 to 3 p.m. Wait, what? You had to call their office? Are you being serious? Wait, you had to call the office to sign out? That's crazy. Yeah, they did have an Ayo Debris cover. They did. They also, so I haven't been talking about everything that's in the magazine. There's actually an Ayo Debris feature. So she features in the mag, like she has her own like whole like multiple spread feature in the magazine. Actually, you know what? Let me just show you guys all the interesting stuff. I'm going to flip through it and show you all the interesting articles. Because it's kind of like divided into sections. So they have like different faces and like different kind of things that were going on. But yeah, honestly, one of the best new magazines out right now. Like, this is what I aspire my magazine to be. Obviously, like, not exactly the same because my perspective and point of view is different. But in terms of balancing commerce and being able to actually like live and pay your bills with the ads, but also having a magazine that's interesting to read and has amazing writing, amazing interviews, interviewing the right people, interviewing all the interesting people. That is what I'm just a big fan of, honestly. Huge fan. Huge fan. But yeah, how many of you guys are familiar with Beyond Noise? I want to know if like this is a magazine that's quite popular or maybe it's still kind of niche for now. How many of you know about Beyond Noise? Just out of curiosity. He said, I hear the inspiration in Ayo's voice. We're getting close to the mag. Okay, Fashion Grunt says, I know Beyond Noise. Disco Strong Arm subscriptions. That's funny. Lil_C says, first time hearing it, but I'm out of the loop most of the time. Well, that's why you subscribe to this channel, isn't it? Not to toot my own horn or anything, but that's why you tune into the live stream. Yeah, okay, I found it, finally. So this section is the voices section. So in this section, it starts with the Ayo Debris feature. So this is part of Ayo Debris, who I'm a big fan. Obviously, if you watch The Bear, you'd be a big fan too. But I kind of like how they are kind of pushing her to be like a fashion person. Like, she's in a lot of campaigns. She's working with J.W. Anderson. She's in Loewe. You know, all these kind of things. They're doing features of her in really good fashion magazines. She's in fashion camp. I love it. I love the way they styled her. I love her as an idea of a fashion icon. I think she changes our idea of what it means to be a fashion icon and all those kind of things. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Ayo Debris. And we have the same name. So, why wouldn't I be a big fan? Here's some more images of her from the magazine. Of course, like I said, you guys can't really see it that well, but I guess the whole point is you're seeing it. And then this is where the feature starts. So there's like an in-depth interview with her talking about like what her life was like before The Bear, how her life changed after, you know, how she's been embedded into the fashion culture, what she thinks about it, what her thoughts are on fashion, her thoughts on health, her thoughts on her future. Then, because I really want to tell you how good this magazine is. Like, this magazine is sensational. Like, this is the Beyond Noise Appreciation Day. The next article after that is an article with Vanessa Friedman, which I loved. For people that don't know, Vanessa Friedman is the head fashion critic at the New York Times. Super experienced fashion journalist, one of the most respected fashion writers in fashion. I don't always agree with all her opinions, but that's just the case with most people. Just the same way most people don't agree with my opinions. But I 100% really respect her opinion, of course. And this article was amazing because Vanessa Friedman was basically talking about how this idea of fashion criticism changing and how it's changed what it means for like social media, to be a critic on social media that came from traditional media, how she navigates that space, what she thinks of like new media personalities. I think she talked about style.com for a bit, like all those kind of things. So it was just a really interesting story. Really, really interesting kind of what she was talking about in the article. And then moving on, you've got some really cool campaigns, which I'll kind of skip past. Let's keep going. Let's see if I remember all the interviews, because there were just too many. Too many. There was a Jennifer Colony feature as well, which was amazing. But we're gonna fly through that because the whole reason I'm doing this is to show you the Alaya one. Okay, I found the Alaya one. So this is the Alaya bit. So it's called The Art of Alaya. So this is the in-depth interview I'm talking about. You guys can see it's pure text, which is what I love. Don't give me pictures. Just give me a long-ass interview. Just text on text. Let Peter Mulia cook. Let him talk about what his plans are. The next 2 pages, all text. All text. Just tell me what all your plans are of Alaya. Tell me your ideas. Tell me about the history of Alaya and how you see it from your perspective and how, that informs the way that you want to design Alaya in the future. Big fan of that interview. So that was another one of the really cool interviews. This is the interview that I said was with Great Wells Bunner. This was done by Karen Binns. So you guys can see once again, let's scroll. So yeah, you can just keep going. But anyway, in a nutshell, my point is Beyond Noise is an amazing magazine. So yeah, it's a really great magazine. Of course I love to read. It's my job. It's my job to just read and then talk about fashion all day. It's kind of fun. I read every single day. Either a book or a magazine, but either or. But like literally this magazine, no joke. I read this magazine in one sitting. Like I sat down and I read through the whole thing in maybe 3 hours. And the thing is, that tells you a lot about the magazine, because for me to be able to sit down and be engaged enough to just keep reading interview after interview after interview, absolutely amazing. You're flexing his brain power on us neurospicy people. Not really. I feel like everyone has the mental capacity to read books. I don't think that's a flex. Yeah, I love when fashion magazines attack you with text. Need to subscribe. Yeah, I totally agree. I love being attacked with text. That's why I like Sister Magazine. Because Sister Magazine just bombards you with text. That's what I love. I don't like when, kind of like what ID and a lot of these magazines have become, where they're basically picture books, where half of the whole thing is campaigns. And then the articles, they're damn near 400-word articles, and it's just images everywhere. It's like, you don't even feel like you learn anything. Or I just feel like I just saw loads of campaigns. It shouldn't even be a magazine anymore. It should just be the campaign book. If you want to see all the campaigns in one book, buy this book. He said, bro is assuming people have reading capacity in this era. That's funny. Novella says, I am a budding linguist with a passion for fashion. We love that. We love that. We love that. We love that. Wait, someone said people don't even read 200 pages. Really? Is our generation down that bad? Are we down that bad that people just don't even want to read anymore? Lucy says, there is a reason why Ayo has 3 manners. It's because he reads. Can you? I know it's an inside joke that, people say I have like manners and stuff. Like, I'm some posh kid that has mansions. I have clothes dotted around my mansions. Hopefully one day it won't actually be a joke. One day I'll be like, oh yeah, by the way, I just need to like tell my driver to pick up my my Alaya coat from my second manor. In the UK, when your house has a name, it means you're really rich. Like it doesn't have a number. It's not like number 2 or number 3. It's like Coddington House. It's cheaper to have a campaign in a magazine than to have a catalogue book. Yeah. Yeah, people are saying they love a good fashion magazine. I do too. Rachel says 200 characters is too much. Oh my gosh, that's concerning. That's very much concerning. Imagine I'll change the name Roadman Manor. People be up in arms. This represented a certain level of Britishness, and we feel like you're bringing your urban sensibilities to the community, calling it the Roadman Manor. People will not be happy at all. However, people absorb info is not an issue for me. The unwillingness to absorb info is the issue. Yeah, true. They're finna treat you like Raheem Sterling if you choose Roadman Manor. But anyway, guys, like I said, check out my Discord and you can read the interview. You know what I'm going to do? For the guys that join Discord, let's say within the next 30 minutes, when I come off this live stream, I'm going to screenshot those images and post them again in the fashion tab so that you guys don't have to search for it. So it's just there. So I'm going to post all the images for the interview. But yeah, on that note, thank you very much for tuning in. I shall now be taking my leave. Of course, if you guys join the Discord, I will talk to you guys there and we can continue the discussion there. But thank you very much for tuning in. It was a lot of fun. And I look forward to seeing you guys in the next stream.